Hello, and welcome to the Wii 100. Looking back on the last generation of gaming, the Wii stood out as a unique platform. It introduced motion gaming to the world and expanded the gaming community to a wider audience, all while securing its place as the best-selling console of its time. Due to its unique architecture, the platform was often overlooked by many third-party developers, and in turn the gamer community. However, the Wii was home to many great games. At Nintendo Enthusiast, we took it upon ourselves to compile a list of our top 100 best Wii games, divided into 10 top 10 lists. Today we break down our top 10 first-person shooters. Number 10. Ghost Squad. Kicking it off is the remake of the 2004 arcade shooter Ghost Squad. This on-rail shooters doesn't win any awards for gameplay depth, visuals, or length, but is it ever fun? The game only contains 3 levels, however offers a lot of replayability through different difficulty levels, branching level paths, and the console-exclusive party mode. Coupled with the Wii Zapper, Ghost Squad offers a great arcade shooter experience without the burden of feeding it tokens. On top of it all, it's one of the rare games where you'll find yourself fighting bikini-clad terrorists with deadly bananas and dolphin water guns. Number 9. House of the Dead Combo Pack. Continuing in the vein of arcade shooters, House of the Dead Combo Pack is another port from the arcade games House of the Dead 2 and 3. When this game came out to the Wii, the visuals were already quite outdated, but again this game shines in how fun and easy it is to pick up, but difficult to master. Instead of fighting terrorists, your focus in this game is to shoot zombies, and if you're a fan of gore, you'll get plenty of it here. The game doesn't add anything new from its arcade release, but between the two games, the branching level paths, bosses, and multiplayer modes, you'll find yourself quite entertained for this budget price title. Number 8. Medal of Honor's Heroes 2. While initially dismissed as shovelware, Medal of Honor Heroes 2 is actually one of the best executed and content-filled shooters on the Wii. While the online mode is long gone, the game still has a solid campaign, great controls, and a rail shooter mode that's practically a new game. Everyone may be sick of World War II shooters, but Medal of Honor Heroes 2 stands out as one of the relatively few games to utilize the Wii controller's ability to make ordinary first-person shooters something special. If you want to get more use out of your IR pointer, this is a very solid choice. Number 7. The House of the Dead Overkill. House of the Dead Overkill took all the stereotypes of a Nintendo game and gave it the middle finger. The game is dark, gory, and vulgar, offering tons of F-bombs, blood, and sexual reference for those looking for less sunshine in their game. More importantly, however, is its fun factor, building on top of everything that was great about the older House of the Dead games. Sega polishes up the visuals, added some classic film references, and gave us more of what we love in our on-rail zombie shooters. Number 6. Resident Evil: The Dark Side and Umbrella Chronicles. Resident Evil saw 2 light gun games on the Wii, and they were both solid, if not a bit of a fan service to the series. Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles took events from Resident Evil 0, 1, and 3 and provided new looks at events during these time frames with classic characters and tight light gun gameplay. Resident Evil: The Dark Side Chronicles took the same solid gameplay and added a new story taking place 2 years before the legendary Resident Evil 4, expanding on the story from that game. Both games have great visuals and excellent sound effects, and both are great additions for fans of light gun games or Resident Evil games. Number 5. The Conduit Series. The Conduit was one of the most ambitious titles for the Wii. Developer High Voltage Software set out to create a first-person shooter experience for the hardcore audience, and for the most part attempted what they planned. Great graphics, an interesting story, and solid online multiplayer gave Wii owners a solid first-person shooter experience. The sequel deviated from the original story and went a bit more over the top, which alienated some fans, but the inclusion of big boss battles and an even better online multiplayer experience more than made up for any single-player shortcoming. Number 4. Red Steel 2. The original Red Steel left a bad taste in many people's mouths. so people weren't too upset when the sequel had barely any connection to it. You have both a sword and a gun, that's the only connection. Taking place in an odd combination of the Old West, medieval Japan, and the future, Red Steel 2 isn't like any other game on the Wii. The infrared shooting and Wii Motion Plus sword combat were both executed very well, and the cel-shaded graphics are among the best looking on the Wii. While saddling the game with the Red Steel name was probably a mistake, Red Steel 2 is a dramatically improved sequel and makes great use of the Wii's abilities. Number 3. Dead Space Extraction. While many people didn't give this game a chance due to it being a rail shooter, Dead Space Extraction is actually very faithful to the mainline Dead Space games. The same dismemberment and telekinesis-based combat is present. The Wii's infrared pointer makes shooting more enjoyable than ever, and the story is actually more involved than the original Dead Space. The game avoids the arcade feel of most rail shooters, feeling like an adventure even without the ability to freely move your character. One of the best rail shooters of all time and deserving of far more praise than it got, all Wii owners should give it a try. Number 2. Goldeneye 007. Remaking a game as beloved as the Nintendo 64 Goldeneye without the original developer was a daunting task, but the Wii Goldeneye manages to stand on its own as a great game. While the game isn't exactly faithful to the original, the Wii's infrared pointer and the addition of modern conveniences like actual checkpoints let it surpass the N64 game in some areas. The game may not be as revolutionary as the Nintendo 64 classic, but every aspect of the game is solid. If you don't go in expecting to have your mind blown like it was 1997, you'll find a quality first-person shooter with the exceptional control that set Wii shooters apart. Honorable mention. Before we get to our number 1 first-person shooter, no shooter list should be left without a mention of Link's Crossbow training. While the title is mainly a minigame that was bundled with the Wii Zapper, it stood out as a great on-rail shooter. Whether playing the on-rail segment or the free-roaming levels, the game delivered a fun shooting experience in the land of Hyrule that left us wanting more. Number 1. Call of Duty Modern Warfare's Reflex Edition. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare's Reflex Edition was arguably the pinnacle of the Call of Duty series, and eventually it found its way to the Wii. Quite surprisingly, this wasn't just a cheap port, but a full version of the game that could stand toe-to-toe with versions on other platforms. With fantastic controls that could be customized, all of the base maps of the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 versions, and frantic gameplay, Call of Duty Modern Warfare was a treat for both hardcore and novice fans of first-person shooter games, and was the finest on the Wii.